Rian lived a very simple life on Star Harbor Station. Every morning, he woke up before the sun lamps turned on, washed his face in cold water, and walked to the cargo bay with a small lunchbox in his hand. He was not a hero, not a soldier, not an important man. He was just a worker who carried heavy boxes from one ship to another. Most of the time, no one even remembered his name. But he did not mind. He believed that life was easy if he stayed honest and helpful. The station was a busy place. Ships from all parts of the galaxy arrived every hour. Some carried food, some carried technology, and some carried creatures that Rian had never seen before. He liked this part of the job. Even though he lived a quiet life, he enjoyed watching aliens walk past him. Their colors, shapes, voices, and clothes were different. But he treated all of them the same wakingly. One normal afternoon, when the loading shift was about to end, Rian heard a soft sound behind a stack of broken containers. It was not loud enough to be a warning, but it was strange. It sounded like someone trying to breathe slowly, hiding from sight. Rian walked toward the sound with careful steps. He thought maybe a small animal was trapped or maybe another worker was hurt, but when he reached the corner, saw something he did not expect. A woman sat on the ground, leaning against a container. She was not human. Her skin had faint silver lines running across it like the glow of moonlight on water. Her eyes were bright and deep, almost shining even in the dim light. Her clothes looked expensive, but they were damaged, as if she had been in an accident. She held a small metal device in her hands, but her fingers trembled. Rian froze for a moment. He had helped many aliens before, but none looked like her. She seemed calm and noble, even in pain. But he could see she was struggling to stand. Without thinking too much, Rian stepped closer. "Are you hurt?" he asked softly. The woman lifted her eyes. She studied him carefully, as if trying to understand what kind of person he was. "I need help," she said. Her voice was gentle but tired. "My device is not working, and I cannot move easily." Rian nodded right away. He did not know who she was, but she needed help. And that was enough for him. "Let me see," he said. She handed him the metal device. It was small, shaped like a folded disc, covered in detailed patterns. Rian had never seen technology like this, but he knew machines well enough to understand basic problems. He opened the side panel carefully and saw a loose connector. It was simple to fix. As he worked, he noticed the woman watching him very closely. Her eyes were calm but sharp, like she was testing him. "You are not afraid of me?" she asked suddenly. Rian looked up with a small smile. "Why would I be? You look like you need help, that's all." Most people in the station avoided helping strangers because they feared trouble, but Rian never thought like that. He believed that if someone was alone and hurt, then helping them was the right thing. The woman seemed surprised by his answer. Not in an insulting way, but more like she was not used to such honesty. "You are different," she said softly. Rian did not understand what she meant, so he just kept repairing the device. After a minute, it clicked back into place, and the lines on its surface lit up with a soft blue glow. "There," Rian said, standing up and offering the device back to her. "It should work now." The woman touched the glowing device carefully. Then she pressed the center, and a small holographic symbol appeared. Her shoulders relaxed, as if a heavy weight had lifted. "You fixed it," she said quietly. Rian laughed a little. It was just a loose part. Nothing special. But to her, it seemed like something very important. She tried to stand up, but her legs shook. Rian quickly reached out, offering his hand. She took it, and he helped her rise slowly. Even standing, she carried an air of grace, like she was used to walking through grand halls or speaking in front of large groups of people. "Thank you," she said again. "I was worried I wouldn't find someone kind." "You're safe now," Rian said. "Do you need medical help? Or someone to contact?" Before she could answer, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the bay. Rian turned around. A group of tall armored guards was marching toward them. Their armor was silver and dark blue, shining under the station lights. Every guard carried a long staff-like weapon. They moved with strict discipline, forming a protective circle around the woman the moment they reached her. Then, all of them bowed deeply. "Your Highness," they said in one voice. Rian stared at them, confused beyond belief. He stepped back, thinking he had done something wrong. He had no idea who the woman was. Clearly, she was someone important. One of the guards glared at Rian sharply, as if ready to chase him away. But before the guard could speak, the woman raised her hand. "It is fine," she said. "He helped me." The guards stayed silent, but their posture changed. They were no longer hostile, only alert. Rian swallowed nervously. "Your Highness?" The woman turned to him with a calm, gentle expression. "My name is Valara," she said. "I am the Queen of the Larethian Empire." Rian felt like the air left his lungs. He had heard about the Larethians before. Everyone in the galaxy had. They were known for their advanced technology, their beautiful cities, and most of all, their incredible wealth. No empire was richer than theirs, and he had just been fixing a device for their queen. "I had no idea," he said quietly. "That is why your help means something," Valara replied. "You helped me when you did not know who I was." "Most people do not do that." Rian felt embarrassed. "Anyone would have helped," No, Valara said, her voice soft but certain. "Not anyone. But you did." The guards stood on both sides, watching everything. Valara looked at them and nodded once. Immediately, one of the guards stepped forward. "Your Highness, your ship is ready. We must return." Valara turned back to Rian. "I would like you to come with me." Rian blinked. "Me? Why?" "Because you showed kindness without expecting anything," Valara said. "I want to speak with you more. And I do not forget the people who helped me." Rian hesitated. He was just a worker. A simple man. He did not belong on a royal ship. But the Queen looked at him with such calm confidence that he could not refuse. "If you want." "I can come," he said carefully. Valara smiled for the first time. It was a soft smile, gentle and full of warmth. "Then walk with me." The guards surrounded them and led the way toward the docking area. Many workers and travelers stopped and stared as the Queen walked through the station. But she did not care about their attention. She walked beside Rian, steady and proud. The royal ship was enormous, polished metal that reflected the lights like a mirror. When its doors opened, a soft breeze of cool air flowed out. The inside looked like a floating palace. It's glowing with soft shades of blue and silver. Rian felt like he was stepping into another world. Valara watched him with calm eyes. "Do not worry. You are safe here." The doors closed behind them with a soft sound. Rian looked around the beautiful corridor, feeling both amazed and lost. "This is too much," he whispered. Valara shook her head. "No kindness is too small. And no person who chooses kindness is ever unimportant." The ship began to rise, and through the large windows, Rian could see the station growing smaller and smaller. His simple life, the one he had lived every day, slowly disappeared behind him. He did not know what waited ahead, but he knew one thing clearly: his life was never going to be the same. Rian stood inside the Queen's ship, unsure where to look first. Everything around him felt unreal, almost dreamlike. The walls were made of smooth, shining metal, and thin lines of soft blue light ran across them like rivers. The floor felt warm under his boots, not cold like the station's metal plates. Even the air smelled fresh, like a mix of flowers and clean water. He had never been on a ship like this before, and he did not know how to act. Queen Valara walked ahead of him with slow and graceful steps. Her guards stayed behind them, giving the Queen space, but always alert. Rian followed quietly, still trying to understand how his life had changed so suddenly. Only a few hours ago he was carrying heavy cargo boxes. Now he was walking inside the royal ship of the richest empire in the galaxy. Valara stopped near a large window that stretched from the floor to the ceiling. Stars shined outside, calm and endless. She turned toward Rian with a gentle expression. "You are thinking many things," she said softly. Rian nodded. "It all feels strange." "Strange can also be good," she replied. "Come, I want to show you something." She led him to a round room with a giant floating table at the center. Holograms of planets, cities, and star routes hovered above the surface. Several royal advisors were already standing there, waiting. When they saw Rian enter with the queen, they exchanged confused looks. One advisor, a tall man with green markings on his forehead, bowed to the queen and then glanced at Rian. "Your Highness. This human, is he joining us?" "He helped me," Valara said. "I wish for him to observe." The advisors did not argue, but Rian could see they were uneasy. They clearly wondered why the queen allowed a simple worker into a royal meeting. Rian felt out of place, but Valara's calm presence gave him confidence. The meeting began. The advisors discussed trade routes, diplomatic tensions, a growing problem between two alien factions that constantly disagreed about resource sharing. Their voices were serious and tense. Rian did not fully understand the details, but he listened closely. After arguing for almost 10 minutes, the advisors grew frustrated. One of them sighed loudly. "We cannot find a solution. Both factions want more than the other is willing to give." Valara looked thoughtful. Then her eyes shifted to Rian. "What do you think?" Rian froze. I don't know anything about politics." "That is why I ask," Valara replied gently. "You see things with simple honesty. Sometimes that is what we need." Rian hesitated, but then he stepped closer to the table. He studied the holograms of the two alien factions. Their territories overlapped in one place, where rare crystals were found. Those crystals were essential for their machines. Both sides wanted them. No one wanted to share, Rian thought for a moment. If they both need the crystals, maybe they can work together? Like a team? They both guard the area. They both take turns collecting. That way, no one feels cheated. The advisors blinked, surprised that a simple human suggested cooperation instead of competition. "It is simple," one advisor muttered. "But it could work," another said slowly. Valara's eyes brightened. "Yes, none of you suggested cooperation. You only thought of negotiation or control. Rian saw something you did not." The room fell silent. The advisors bowed their heads respectfully. Rian stepped back, feeling shy. "I just said what made sense." "Sometimes the simplest answer is the one everyone ignores," Valara replied. Her voice was warm, carrying a quiet pride. After the meeting, Valara walked with Rian through the palace-like halls. "You helped again," she said. Rian laughed softly. "I only said what was obvious." "To you," Valara said, "not to them." As they walked, Rian noticed other workers and guards watching him with curious eyes. Some looked confused. Others seemed surprised that the queen treated him kindly. Rian tried not to look uncomfortable, but he had never been stared at like this before. Valara noticed his unease. "You do not need to worry about these looks. People fear what they do not understand." "I'm just a worker," Rian said. "I don't belong here." Valara stopped and turned to him. "You belong anywhere your kindness takes you." Her words stunned him. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Later, the ship landed on the queen's home planet. The palace was even more magnificent than the ship. Giant towers stood high in the sky like silver trees. Bridges of light connected them. Gardens full of glowing flowers surrounded the grand entrance. When Rian stepped out, he felt like he had entered a storybook, but not everyone welcomed him. Inside the palace hall, a group of nobles waited. They wore elegant clothes and long capes, and their eyes were sharp with judgment. When they saw Rian walking beside the queen, their whispers began immediately. "Why is a human here? He looks like a common laborer. Why is the queen allowing this?" Valara stood tall. She spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. "This human is a guest of the crown. Treat him with respect." The nobles bowed, but their eyes were full of warning. Rian felt uncomfortable, but he remained silent. He did not want to cause trouble for the queen. For the next few days, Rian stayed in the palace as a guest. He explored the gardens, watched the sunrise from the crystal balconies, and learned about the Lorethian culture. Valara spent time with him every day, asking him questions about humans, about simple work, about life on the station. She seemed to enjoy the honesty in his answers. Rian, in return, learned that Valara carried a heavy responsibility as queen. She had to make decisions every day that affected millions of people. Even though she looked calm and strong, he could see the weight she carried. One evening, Rian found her standing alone on a balcony, staring at the horizon. The sky was filled with soft purple clouds and floating lights that moved slowly like lanterns. "You look tired," Rian said gently. Valara smiled faintly. "A queen is not allowed to be tired." "Maybe not," he replied. "But you are still a person." Valara turned to him slowly. "You remind me that I am." Rian did not know how to answer that. But the queen seemed grateful just for his presence, however. Not everyone in the palace accepted Rian's place near the queen. Several nobles believed he was too close to her. They feared he might influence her decisions. They believed a simple human should never stand beside the ruler of the richest empire. One night, while Rian walked through the long hallway toward his room, he heard two nobles whispering behind a large statue. "We must remove him," one said quietly. "He is a threat to tradition," the other replied. "The queen listens to him too much." Rian froze. He did not want to cause trouble for Valara. He did not want enemies. He was just a worker who happened to help someone who needed help. He thought about ignoring what he heard. But then he remembered how Valara trusted him. She had brought him into her world. She had given him kindness. He could not let anyone harm her. The next morning he approached Valara. "There is something I need to tell you," he said. Valara listened carefully as Rian explained what he overheard. Her eyes became serious but not angry. "You were right to tell me," she said. "I suspected some of them were unhappy." "What will you do?" Rian asked. "I will speak to them," Valara replied calmly. A queen must face her problems directly. Later that day, Valara entered the Grand Council Hall where the nobles waited. Rian stood outside with the guards, nervous, even though he did nothing wrong. The meeting lasted longer than he expected. Voices echoed inside, sometimes heated, sometimes quiet. Rian could not hear the words, but he felt tension in the air. Finally, the doors opened. Valara walked out with calm steps. The nobles followed, looking humbled. She approached Rian with gentle eyes. "It is resolved." "What did you tell them?" Rian asked. "I told them that loyalty is not decided by birth, status, or wealth," she said. "It is shown through actions, and you have shown loyalty more than most." Rian felt warmth in his chest. "Thank you. But I don't know what I can truly offer you." "Honesty," Valara said, "and a viewpoint free from pride. That is something rare here." The following day, the queen held a public announcement in the central hall of the palace. People from all over the city gathered. The hall was filled with bright lights and soft music. Rian stood near the edge, unsure why Valara asked him to attend. When Valara stepped onto the platform, the crowd went silent. Her voice echoed clearly through the hall. "There is someone who helped me in a moment of need," she said. "Not because of power, not because of wealth, but because it was the right thing to do. I've decided to welcome this person into the royal circle." The crowd murmured in surprise. Then Valara continued, "Rian will serve as my advisor. His honest mind and kind heart will guide me in decisions where simplicity and truth are needed." Rian's eyes widened. He never expected such an honor. The crowd stared at him, some shocked, some curious, some even smiling. Valara looked at him from the platform. Her eyes were warm. "Come forward." Rian stepped slowly into the center of the hall. The lights reflected off the crystal floor. The queen extended her hand, and Rian took it. She held it gently but firmly. In that moment, Rian understood something important. It did not matter that he was a simple worker. It did not matter that he came from an ordinary life. What mattered was the kindness he showed on that ordinary day, and that kindness had changed everything. The queen stood beside him, confident and calm. Rian felt a new strength rising inside him, not the strength of muscles or power, but the strength of knowing he had done something good. The crowd applauded. The palace lights brightened.